Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with another transfer talk roundup show. It's been a few days since we've had it, but we've got news of a deal for one of the hottest young talents across Europe falling through, but news of Aston Villa in talks with another one of Europe's hot prospects. We've got news of Emi Martinez potentially talking to another club, and Jadon Sancho back on the radar, and also a Nottingham Forest star on the radar for Aston Villa as well. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help us continue on the road to 6,000 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer and closer, and you can help us get there and get your comments in, your thoughts on the latest players linked. And are you potentially concerned about us missing out on potential talent across Europe? So let's get straight into it. Aston Villa have been reported that they're now in club-to-club negotiations for Real Betis star Jesús Rodriguez. Yes, we have called upon divine intervention to help Aston Villa for next season. And I talked about him in, I don't know if it was the last roundup or the one before. It had been talked about that we were potentially looking at him, and now it's been made official, as reported by Fabrizio Romano, that we are definitely in talks with the club about signing him, and it's around about a 20 million euro fee I think he could potentially be available for. Now, there will be other clubs interested in, I'm sure. I think he is a hot prospect across Europe, so Aston Villa trying to steal a bit of a march to try and get this over the line quickly. Has played 20 times in La Liga for Betis since 2024, also featured for their B team 31 times, has scored 2 goals in La Liga for the first team, and has represented Spain under 21s as well. And I think he's in the under 21 European Championships right now, and also appeared for Betis in the Europa Conference League last season and did come on in the final. So has got European experience, has got first team experience. We know how that fits the box and fits the profile for players that Monchi likes, and particularly players that Unai Emery likes. Young players that have had first team experience, potentially in the top league or at least the second division within that country, and can call upon that experience, has played against men in games that matter, and there's some talent there to work with. Morgan Rogers, Ozcan coming in the summer, and other players that's happened to as well. So we know what the modus operandi is for Unai Emery, and this player seems to fit the bill. So we will wait and see whether he is a player who we will manage to get. But it's good that we are starting to make moves in the market. And as many people have said, lots of people are talking about PSR and Aston Villa being in trouble with it, and Aston Villa not necessarily having the finances to be able to go out and spend. But we know how we operate. We know that we work within different parameters. We sign quality young players, we look for value in the market, and we also maybe sign the odd big name player, but we've also got assets that we can sell. So I am not concerned one bit about PSR, and ultimately profit and sustainability is about the losses that you can sustain. You can spend as much as you want, but you need to make sure that you stay within the laws of the losses that are allowed, and whether that be having to sell extra players, whether that be having to offset certain costs, whether that be having to sell naming rights, whether that be having to do some creative accounting with the women's team. There are lots of ways around it right now. So it doesn't necessarily mean Aston Villa will be restricted to how much they can spend. It's just about balancing that up at the end of the end of the season with the account. So look, I'm not worried at all. Let's just have a little look at his stats. Again, I did bring that up, but I got into a little rant about the PSR situation. But yeah, left winger, can operate down the right as well, pops up, but predominantly down that left-hand side. Does that indicate a slight change in tactic for Unai Emery for next season? We've done a lot of our work down the right-hand side with a right winger, not too much down the left-hand side. That's players usually tucked inside, but we did see it with Marcus Rashford a little bit more last season. 15 starts in La Liga, 2 goals for Jesús Rodriguez, 2 with his right foot, so cuts inside. No assists, so that, again, something that he'd want to work on. The accuracy of passes pretty good, 76%, 78% in his own half, 72% in the opposition half, 2.8 ball recoveries per game. And then in terms of the dribbles, 39%, so maybe want to improve on that a little bit. But the ground duels, pretty decent for a young player, 47% as well. So puts himself about, likes to work hard. So look, I think all indications are that he's a very good prospect. Now, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. Will he be a player that will challenge directly for the first team, or will he be a player that we will have a look at in pre-season if we were to sign him and potentially send him out on loan for some more experience? What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know. Now, one player who we have missed out on that would have been probably in a similar situation and is equally, or if not more highly rated, is Sverre Nypan of Rosenborg. And it looks like, well, it's been confirmed that he's going to Manchester City now. I think it's a £12.5 million deal. Now, Aston Villa presented all the options to him, met with his parents. I think he really liked the project and everything like that was put in front of him. I'm sure he would have really appreciated working with someone like Unai Emery as well and seeing what we've done for young players over the last few years. But ultimately, Manchester City is a bigger name and is a bigger prize at the end of the day and could probably offer him bigger wages. And every player wants to try and test himself at the highest level. There is an element of, okay, you might have to wait more time to get into the first team. There's a more higher risk factor there of first team opportunity. But if he gets into the first team, then every player has to back themselves to try and do it. And that's not something that you can really stand in their way. Now, what got me onto my PSR rant was about, lots of people on social media saying, oh, this is Aston Villa now. This is what's going to happen. Players are going to turn us down because we're not in the Champions League and PSR is going to mess us up. But look, the player probably chose Manchester City. Manchester City is a bigger name. Erling Haaland went there. He probably looks up to him. He probably sees what Erling Haaland's achieved. He's going to go out on loan to Girona, it looks like, next season, and then he can see how he operates in the first team the season after if he develops. And also, look, there's no guarantees at 18 years of age whether someone is going to be a big name player or not. The chances are that he probably won't fulfill that potential. Those are the odds. That's how difficult it is. So I wouldn't be losing too much sleep over losing him. It would have been great to sign him and see him develop with Aston Villa, but equally, we haven't signed him. He's chosen Man City. Good luck to him. And I really don't think it has anything to do with Aston Villa being not in the Champions League or not being able to fork out the money or being at risk of being in trouble with PSR. I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. Now, other links coming into the club, other wingers that have been linked to the club. Now, one is a familiar name, and again, it's been reported that we're looking at Jadon Sancho, and he's a player that we're considering, along with Newcastle and Everton and one or two other clubs across Europe as well. Obviously, it didn't work out for him at Chelsea as well as he would have hoped, and they paid £5 million to send him back to Manchester United. It doesn't look like Ruben Amorim is going to want him, but also they need to generate funds to fund their other transfers that they want to make. They've obviously made some signings in the summer already. So Sancho looks like he's available. Now, we talked about this and lots of mixed comments, mixed views in the comments about people saying that Unai Emery could really turn him around. There's obviously real ability there and there's a real player there. Others saying absolutely not. He's a waste of money, waste of time. For me, I wouldn't sign him. I just don't see the hype around Jadon Sancho. I think he's a clever player. I think he's got real ability. He's got real flashes of brilliance, but I don't see enough in his body language. I don't see enough in his demeanor. I don't see enough in his mentality to suggest that he could really, really, really kick on. And that's just my opinion. And I hope he proves me wrong, but I can't see him coming to Aston Villa and hitting the heights that maybe his potential promised. And that's just my opinion. But, we've seen it with Marcus Rashford. We saw him come to Aston Villa and play with a smile on his face and the love that the Villa fans gave Rashford. And there's still a chance that Rashford signs for Aston Villa. But I can't see Jadon Sancho coming. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, another player has been Anthony Elanga who has been linked with Aston Villa, as well again as Newcastle and various other clubs. Now, I'm surprised that he is so readily talked about across the reports from Nottingham Forest. I would have imagined that Nottingham Forest will be doing everything they can possible to keep him, because he's had a very, very, very good season. 74 times he's played for Forest since 2023 and scored 11 goals in the league. He has 22 caps for Sweden, where he scored 4 goals. And so many big games last season where he produced. I think Manchester United, they won 1-0 and he scored a great solo goal. And that sticks in the mind. And he's so dangerous on the break. Yes, sometimes he can be a little bit anonymous. Yes, sometimes he can maybe flatter to deceive. But ultimately, he's been a real consistent performer, can play across to the left, can play across the right, and can even play through the middle as well. So very versatile player. If you look at his heat map here, equal spread across on the right or the left, and just searing pace as well. And that's something that I think Aston Villa really, really need. They need a danger in behind. They need a danger carrying the ball with real pace, particularly away from home. And we look, 31 starts, 6 Premier League goals, 6 big chances missed as well, 5 goals from inside the box, 1 from outside the box, 5 with the left foot, 1 with the right foot, 11 assists, which was a real productive season there, and 9 other big chances created, 78% in terms of passing accuracy, 61% in the opposition half, 2.3 ball recoveries per game, 39% in terms of successful dribbles, and 47% ground duels won. But I think it's if we could improve that output just that little bit more, then I could see Alanga being a real asset to the squad. And with players like Jacob Ramsey maybe being made available for transfer, he's able to carry the ball at pace, but not necessarily been as effective as Unai Emery would have liked and as Jacob Ramsey would have liked. So could you potentially see, us cashing in on, say, a Ramsey and signing someone like an Elanga? Yes, different types of players, but can carry the ball with with more pace and more directness. And there's probably more of an end product there with someone like an Alanga. And it also might indicate a slight change of tactic from Unai Emery. Does he want to operate with Morgan Rogers being able to carry the ball? And does he want to operate with someone who can be a direct threat in behind or a direct threat on the break, particularly away from home? So that could be an interesting one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you like to see someone like Anthony and Alanga come to Aston Villa? But do you think he's even potentially available for transfer? That's my not concern, but that's my sort of question, really. I wouldn't imagine that Nottingham Forest will certainly want to get rid of him. Emi Martinez. Now, I don't think it's any secret that he's available for transfer. We know that there are 1 or 2 names with Aston Villa who we could be looking to move on. Big earners, can get big money for them. And it's now been reported that Galatasaray are interested in him and potentially even in talks with him. They've just signed Leroy Sané on a big deal for a free transfer on over £300,000 a week, which is the reported. So maybe Emi Martinez wants a piece of that cash. And they're in Champions League. They obviously do sign big name players. It's probably an atmosphere, a cauldron, a club that might suit someone like Emi Martinez's character. So that could be one that has some legs. Now, transfer fee wise, I'm not sure. We're looking at what, 40, 50 million pounds for someone like Emi Martinez. And could he be up for that challenge? Sometimes it's just a different league, different surroundings, different club, different atmosphere. Sometimes that can be the option. And I think his wife or something was quoted in an interview saying that he might be looking for a new challenge or something, but that could be a new challenge with the same club. He won a challenge for the Europa League, wants a challenge for the Champions League again. So I wouldn't read too much into it, but in terms of maybe being linked with clubs and the player most likely out of the big names to be moving, I would imagine it's someone like Emi Martinez. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure that Unai Emery and Emi Martinez will want to get that done early so that we can look for suitable replacements. Chevalier has been linked. Bolker has been linked. So there's numerous goalkeepers that I think we could potentially go in for, but we've got to get this probably done and dusted quite soon. That's it, though, for me for today's roundup. What do you think? Are you pleased that Jesus could be coming to Aston Villa from Real Betis? Is that the signing that is going to ignite us? Is that the signing that shows that we statement of intent with certainly young players from across Europe coming into Aston Villa? Does it signal maybe what we're going to do in terms of transfer strategy over this pre-season? Sverre Nypan, how gutted are you that we've missed out on him? Is it a big, big loss for us? And does it indicate that we aren't maybe shopping in the top circles for players? Alanga or Sancho, let me know your thoughts. And Emi Martinez to Galatasaray, could you see it? Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. Help us on the road to 6K. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll be back with more Transfer Talk Roundup shows. And I am promising to do a live show sometime soon, just rounding up all the news and getting your views live on the transfer dealings and what you think will happen into pre-season. But as I say, thank you for watching. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.